Hey guys, so why starting your business in 2025 is your best shot at success? So this video is actually really near and dear to my heart because I see a lot of people, and like this, I'm filming this video at a time when a lot of people are kind of finding a lot of motivation. So there's generally times in the year where people are always like finding new motivation. Sometimes it's the beginning of the year, sometimes it's like, during like 4th of July or when the kids start going back to school. Sometimes it's, at the end of the year, like November and December, when they're like doing Thanksgiving, they're like really grateful for their life and they're trying to cause a change, right? So there's always different times of the year when people feel more motivated. But what I've kind of noticed is that there are times in the game where it's way easier to get clients than other times. And you have to learn how to align yourself and your goal setting to really match that. So I'll give you a good example. So I've had a student in my mentorship program for the last, she got started in 2020. So she got started in November of 2020. So about 4 years and like 2 months or so ago, she got started. And one thing that happens every single year at the beginning of the year, the first week of the year, she gets a huge amount of consultation calls. So the first year when she was doing the LinkedIn system, I think she got like 3 consultation calls the first week of January. Not the greatest, but pretty good. Those all turned into all 3 clients. So if you're counting clients, then yeah, it's amazing. Next year she brought in about 7 calls that first week. The year after that, she brought in 14 calls. This year, she's brought in about, I think it's about like between 15 and 20 calls this year. She had some malfunctions with like her LinkedIn profile, so I kind of messed up some of our different campaigns we do, but we figured out a workaround for it, so now she's back on track. But all that to say is there's very specific times when the market is going to be extra potent to buying accounting or buying bookkeeping services. So you have to learn how to tap into those times. So generally what I've found is like beginning of the year is the best. Middle of the year is like probably let's say that we divide the year into 3, right? So first third is amazing. You can walk into the grocery store and get clients. Second third of the year, a little bit more challenging if you don't know what you're doing. The final third of the year, really good because people are looking like for cleanups and they're just trying to like spend money to like reduce their taxes for their tax bill. So you have to learn how to really weave within those time frames. So depending on when you're watching this video, if you're watching this video in the beginning of the year, you probably should go and start your business as fast as possible because you're never going to have a time in 2025 when it's easier. Also in 2026, who knows? We might go through a real recession, right? So people might not be buying or as likely to buy next year as what they are now. So while they're looking to buy and while they're like there to be found, you got to go and get in front of them, right? Because if you do well now, you don't have to do marketing in 2026 when things are bad. You don't have to do marketing in 2027. Instead you're on the beach, instead you're relaxing, instead you're taking your vacation. Maybe you like skiing. I don't like skiing because I don't like the cold. Right now, I live in Michigan, so it's kind of an oxymoron where it says like I don't like the cold, but it's a true thing. It's like every year it seems like it gets a little bit worse and worse as far as like the cold, like how it affects me. And like this year, it's like terrible. I was at the gym. I was passed out at the gym yesterday, man. Like I was not feeling that. It was crazy. But all that to say is like when things are moving, you gotta move with it. What I've noticed a lot of the times, people that generally tend to make like good money, so not like super rich, but like good money, generally tend to be the people that are most focused on others. I think that there's like a misconception where it's like the more money you make, the more selfish that you are. Now, you might be more selfish, like you're thinking about like, how can you conserve the money or like, what do you do with the money? I'll admit that. But I have noticed that people that are not as successful or not yet successful, maybe we'll call them unsuccessful, like currently they're unsuccessful, they generally tend to be more self-centered. And I don't mean that in a negative way, it's just it's very self-focused. So I had a lady who was thinking about joining our program and like she was like, yeah, I can't do consultation calls around this time because of this. I only want to work with business owners that are like this. I want this. Like everything that she said was about what she wanted, what she needs. And that wouldn't have been a problem if she was just having like a conversation with me, like behind the scenes, right? Because like, I'm your coach. So it's like, hey, you tell me what's really on your mind. But we call those internal conversations. So internal between you, me, and your team. That's internal. External is what you tell the market, right? So that's when you're in your consultation call. How do you come to like the real world and like talk to those people? it's okay if you have like very self-focused thoughts on our internal conversations, but when that starts bleeding over into the consultation call where you tell the business owner like, I'm only working this, I have I have to take care of my kid this time, so I can't do this, and I can't. It's like, bro, the business owner's like, I don't care about that. I don't care about anything that you just said. We're not working together. And it's not that they don't like you. It's not that. It's just like, you have to learn how to communicate externally to other people about how you're going to help them and how working with you is going to improve their life. Once you can do that, people are going to want to pay whatever you want. Then they start caring about like what's going on in your life. But if you lead too far with your self-centeredness, it's going to cause them to like be turned off very quickly. And like I just see that just so much, So it's like, in order to really be successful in this business, you have to learn how to, number one, talk in terms of what other people want. Think about what other people want. Think about how what you do and what you like to do can impact people. Because I'm not saying don't do things that you want to do. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, it's just about the communication element and just the way that you're thinking. In order for you to make a lot of money, you have to be able to provide value to a certain number of people outside of yourself. The only reason that I am able to go and take, XYZ number of vacations per year is because, number one, I have clients like accounting clients that pay me month after month after month and year after year after year because I've done a lot of value to them. But also for our mentorship students, like I have mentorship program. When I'm on vacation, I can still go and like talk to them. So some people might be like, well, your vacation's not as great of a vacation as what it could be because like you still have to like talk to people. It's like, well, I like talking to people. One, that's why I'll do the mentorship program. But two, it's like if I have to take a full day off, people are like, oh, okay, cool, right? Because you've already provided so much value and you've given them so much help. It's just more of like you're just doing it as a courtesy. Like they don't necessarily need you after a certain point. It's just more of like, I like being able to talk to people even at the expense of like having fun or being able to relax in a lot of cases. Like I'll do stuff on Saturdays. Like people are like, you work on Saturdays? Yeah, dude, I work on Saturdays. Sometimes I'll work on Sundays if I want to. It just really depends. Now, if this was like a job, heck no, I would not be working on like Saturdays. I wouldn't be working like the different range of hours I do. But since this stuff I actually want to do, like that's the difference. When you have your business and like you're making like let's say for accounting and bookkeeping, I recommend everyone tries to like 2 to 3x their bills. Is kind of like the spot where you can maybe like switch and do other things. Or you can add some other stuff where you start diversifying, right? But at that stage, you can choose to do what you want to do. So it's like you do what you have to do in your job, then you figure out what you want to do with your business, then you keep growing, then you do what you choose to do, right? So needs, wants, choice. That's the biggest thing. I'm at the stage of choice, and like not to say like I'm better or worse than anyone else. It's just I want that for you too, to where you can move past just wanting to start a business, but you be able to have like the skills, the tactics, the tool sets to be able to go and get to that level, so that you can actually go and choose what you want to do. So like let's say that you have a let's say you have a client that you just don't like anymore. It's like, oh hey, I just don't think this is working out. Goodbye. Or I have a rule where if someone on a consultation call says something that like either irritates me or just I don't like, I just politely excuse them. I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? You don't want my money? Like I had a person literally go like, wait, you don't want my money? I was like, not really. I don't like the way that you responded to me. You didn't come prepared to this call. You didn't do any research. Yeah, so you're disqualified. And like I know that might sound mean to some people, but it's like at a certain stage, your business and stuff and your systems are so in place that you have the confidence to be able to do whatever you want, right? And that's why starting your business in 2025 is your best chance of success, because business owners are now looking for like people to do this stuff remotely. So if you can go and tap into this existing behavior that people already have, which is they want someone to do the bookkeeping remotely because they don't want to have someone in house, then it allows you to be able to grow a lot faster. That's the key thing, number one there. And then number two, if you can just get it done now, you don't have to keep thinking about it. Like there's some people that I've talked to like in my Facebook group, and it's like literally I talked to this person yesterday and she's like, yeah, I've been thinking about starting my business since like, 2018, or it was like either 2018. I was like, whoa, dude, we're in 2025 right now. That's like 7 years you've been thinking about starting. Like, what are we doing here, man? And it's just like, I'm grateful we're gonna potentially be able to help that person out. She booked a call for like I think like a couple days from now, so hopefully we can help her out. But it's like if that's you and you're kind of like sitting on the sidelines, it's like, dude, like you might as well just get in the game. you might as well get in the game. It's not as hard as what you think it's going to be. It's just more emotionally challenging than what you think it's going to be. Like that's the really biggest thing. Like if you can learn to compartmentalize your emotions and just keep negative stuff like in a little box and just like push it off, or talk to you if you have a therapist or whatever, you will kill this game so much easier than everybody else, because it's not very challenging. All this business is understand who is your right target market, right? So you're going to go after companies that are doing 500,000 per year. You're going to go after companies that are startups. You're going to go after companies that are doing like 2 million a year, 5 million a year, 10 million, $100 million per year. Understanding your targets, right? The more money that a company is making, the more value you're going to be able to provide, the more money you can charge. So, excuse me, what I've kind of found is that like really getting a client for like 2 to 3K per month is really like the ultimate sweet spot. When you start getting like 5, 6, 7, it can be okay. Like when you get above 7, it turns more like into a job for that client. So when you're at like 2,000 to like 5,000, it's generally like a really good sweet spot. So yeah, so that's kind of the point that I select. And like if you don't know what kind of company can afford to pay you that, like we'll generally tell you that inside of our mentorship program, because it's very different for every industry, right? Because every industry is going to have a different set of like profit. They're going to have a different revenue per head count. They're going to have a different comfort level with paying a higher amount of money. For example, let's say that someone is a general contractor. Generally, they're going to have a much harder time wrapping their mind around paying you $2,000 a month versus, let's say, like a non-profit that's doing like $2 to $3 million per year, right? It's just like in order to get to a business of that size, like to become a business of that size, you have to be used to spending money and having a lot of expenses, right? Versus like if it's a solopreneur, general contractor, they're making like 200K a year, like they're trying to keep as much of that $200,000 per year as they possibly can. So you might be their first contractor, and that's not the best thing. You want to look at for companies that have a lot of contractors underneath them, or even employees, right? Oftentimes you can find like companies that have like anywhere between like 3 to like 15 employees. That's a great spot. That's a great spot to be in. That's when you're going to start getting paid a pretty good amount of money. So let's say you've already found that, right? I like utilizing LinkedIn because you can you can have a really good understanding like what is the makeup of the company before you start trying to build a connection with the owner, right? So just really making sure that you understand what they have going on inside the business, like how many employees they have, what is their average revenue, how long they've been in business for, like what industry are they in, like what is the owner kind of like, and then once you're there, you can start making like connections, and it's super simple. Once you like learn how to make connections and just have really good conversations on LinkedIn, it's so simple. Like I had a guy, his name was Case, and like literally he booked like 4 consultation calls in his first like 2 weeks of working together. It's like all he did was just get on LinkedIn, utilize the targeting stuff we talk about, utilize some of the messenger scripts that we give him, and literally that's all it took for him to go and like find success with that. It's ridiculous, right? But it's just like knowing what to do makes everything so much easier. I think that's the biggest difference that most people just don't have. Okay, I'm gonna lower this camera just slightly. Better, so much better. Cool. So then after you have like the right size company, then and you just know how to price, right? So I'm generally encouraging you guys to price in between like $500 to $5,000 per month per client. Now that's a really big range, right? One question I get asked a lot is like, what's the average price, or like what's the standard price for a bookkeeper? It's like, what are you talking about? So whenever you're thinking about pricing a service that has complexity inside of it, it's not gonna be like a standard package. I think a lot of people are thinking of like they're trying to do the package like they're like a lawn care company, where it's like, hey, if you want, let's say you have like 1 acre of land, then it's gonna be one price. If you have 3 acres of land, it's gonna be another price. If you want both the grass clean, if you want the shrubs clean, if you want this, or I think a better example. Most people I think that they are pricing like a car wash. You ever go to a car wash? They have like good service, better service, best service, and it's like that includes this, and then the next package that includes everything from like the beginning, like the low package to like the mid package. Then the best package includes like the good and the better all combined together plus the best. It's not like that. It's like you're giving someone all the potential service you can offer, but there's certain degrees. One company could have 1 million transactions. One company could have 10 transactions. One company could be doing $1 million per year top line. One company could be doing $5 per year top line. They could also need payroll. They could need AR. They could need invoicing. They could have multiple bank accounts. They could have like loans. They could need invoicing as well. They could make like want you to do like their sales and use tax. They could also need to like so. There's it's not like good, better, best, right? That's the wrong way to think about it. It's here's one package that's customized to the individual business that you're selling to, and here are all the different like components that make up the end price. And when you're able to add all that in and basically tell them exactly why and what they are getting, now they start being like, oh, okay, that's not that much money compared to like what you could be charging me for that if you were to sell me each one of those individually. Yeah, and then once you're able to do that, like, it's so simple. Because, like, people ask, like, like, sometimes you might see, like, the testimonials of our students in our mentorship program where it's like, oh, they went from charging a person $1,000 a month to $6,000 a month. What do they do differently? It's just, like, they didn't know how to price the first time. So we had to literally go back to the like, clients they had and be like, hey, like, this price is wrong. I messed up. Your books are changing, blah, blah, blah. The new price is $6,000 a month. And, like, oh, cool. I was wondering when you were going to raise the price on me. Yeah. I was just kind of giving you some leeway, some latitude for a couple months, just kind of, I know it was my mistake, so I didn't mind, like, really suffering for a couple months, but, I'm glad you're kind of, ready to, like, raise your rates and stuff. And it's like, okay, cool. And then both parties are happy because you're offering value. And when you come to them and, like, we give you, like, pricing calculators, you can always, like, show exactly, like, what the work is worth to them. Like, now it just makes sense. Like, if you can learn how to take stuff from being an emotional topic and turn into a logical conversation, you're going to make as much money as you want. So what do I mean by that? So most people, when it comes to pricing, they're like, there's a lot of fear around pricing a high price. What if the person doesn't work with me? What if they say the price is too high? What if they say, like, I don't have the credentials to match that price? What if they ask, why I'm not a CPA? What if they, like, there's all this, like, fear around, like, when it's a low price you're charging, not very much fear. But when you start charging more, it's like you have like a lot of internal fears around that. It's just like, if you can learn how to take, instead of thinking about like fear and stuff, and you can present the facts, we go from fear to facts. Most business owners are very factual. They want to see dollars and cents. If you can show me that by working with you and I pay you $1, I'm going to get $5, $10, $15, $20 back as a result of your service, it's a done deal every single time. It's just most of you guys are dealing with companies that are way too small and they can't really see and understand how to utilize their service. I'll give you an example. So let's say that a client is going to want to save money on their taxes. Like they just did like $300,000 this year. Let's say it's a solopreneur and they're going to have to pay $60 to like $70K in taxes. No problem. Okay, so basically in order for them to go and do like some tax planning or to get ready for tax season, they would need someone to do a cleanup. Sometimes the CPA will do it, sometimes the CPA won't do it. Let's say the CPA won't do it, they say they have to go get a bookkeeper. If you're going to charge them a huge amount of money, let's say like, not even a huge amount of money, let's say you're going to charge them like $20K to do the cleanup. If you can show that by doing this $20,000, they can save most of that $70K on taxes instead of go put it towards something they want to do, because now the CPA can do some tax planning with them, they're more likely to get that to work. Versus if you can't and they still have to pay the $70K in taxes and they just paid you $20K, they're not going to want to do that because they actually lost $20K. They might as well just go and have the tax preparer just like kind of fandangle it, figure it out, like not be clean, just be sloppy, do a million journal entries and just like be just how some CPAs will do, like a lot of CPAs, you'll be surprised, all they do is tax. Like they don't really understand bookkeeping, and the way they do bookkeeping and stuff is more from a tax perspective than how we would do it as bookkeepers and accountants. So just kind of be aware of that. And like we said, we did that example based on like them doing like $300K and like net profit, right? But a lot of companies, if they do $300K top line, they're not doing $300K like bottom line. They're probably going to do like most companies operate like anywhere between like a 10 to 30% margin. And like most companies, they don't know their numbers. Their margin is going to be even worse than what they expect. So like it's just messed up, man. But that's why they need you. So you can learn how to communicate that value and you can give clarity to them. It's going to make it so much easier for you to get clients like on a consistent basis, right? But The time is now. Like the best time to plant an apple tree was 20 years ago. But, you know, if you didn't do it 20 years ago, the next best time is today. Now, I understand that if you tried to start an accounting business or a bookkeeping business online 20 years ago, it would be non-existent. Right? So really, if you could have done this back in 2015, yes, it would be easy. You wouldn't have had to probably work as many years. You would have made way more money. You would have been good. You would have been able to like travel. You probably travel more than I do. I don't really like traveling that much. Like, you know, I say that as I take like 12 vacations a year, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm the kind of person where like I like to travel for like 2-3 days at a time. Because if I travel 5, 7, 8, 10 days, it's just like I get bored and like I need to get back to work, you know, because I love working and stuff. But that could be you. You could be taking, you know, week-long vacations anytime that you want, right? Let's say you have kids in school. Maybe what you can do is you could like homeschool them as you guys go and travel the world. Like, we had a student actually do that. They literally they pulled their kids out of regular school, and then they actually like homeschool their kids, and they're able to go and take like traveling vacations. So one of the spouses works the business, the other one just like does the schooling, and they're like literally in a different country every single month. It's really cool. Really cool, and like that's why we do this stuff. Like, people are like, you know, you just want to make a huge amount of money, Bryce. I'm like, well, yeah, but in order for me to make a huge amount of money, I have to help out people. Like, I don't think people understand that, and it's like, I don't know. I used to think I was like kind of like when we were talking about before. I thought I was a very self-centered person, and then but it's like, how many like free videos do you have to make on YouTube before it's like, hey, you know, maybe I'm not a self-centered person. Maybe like it's not always about the money. I thought about the other day. I was like, I used to be like, yeah, you know, I wouldn't do anything if I'm not getting paid for it. Like, I used to volunteer, but I didn't like volunteering because I was like, I don't know, I was like very selfish and just like, you know, just very just like self-focused and stuff. And then like I looked back on my YouTube channel. I have what I think like, I like to say we have like 1,700 videos on this thing. I'm like, 1,700 videos where I didn't get paid for the 1,700 videos. That's crazy. That's a lot of free work and a lot of free time. Like, oh my gosh, I was volunteering this whole time. You know, but when you don't need the money and you can do stuff that you choose to do, I think it makes everything a lot easier. So I want to get you to that point. I think that you can be at that point. I think that you will do well. If you want help speeding up your progress, I'm always here for you inside of our mentorship program. So if you want to learn more about how we can help you out, and if you want like help going and reaching your goals so that you don't have to make a lot of mistakes, because like, you know, really the thing that makes a business and makes things hard for most people is that if you make a lot of mistakes, it's easy to get discouraged. It also takes you 2 to 3 times as long, because every time you make a mistake, you have to go back and fix that mistake. Or first you have to catch the mistake, you have to identify what went wrong, then you have to fix the mistake. That takes time, right? A lot of people don't have time. So if you want to go and like save time and like make sure you go and get to your goal as fast as possible so you can start living your life rather than just kind of like waiting to live life, go ahead and click the link inside the description. Book the call with myself. Let's see if I can help you inside of our program. Like I said, you know, there's no time like right now, and at the time that you're watching this video, this is the best time of the year to be able to go and like make things work. So if that's you, I'd love to see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, that's a-okay too. No harm, no foul. You know, I'm rooting for you. I'm really excited for you, and I really appreciate you watching my channel. Okay, have a good rest of your day. Take it easy.